Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of The Secret Origins of Min Condition. I am one of your hosts, James. We haven't done this in a while, but we do this periodically, and this is a Joe's Comic Corner edition. This is where
Yes.
Joe will help me interpret classic comic books that I've never read, first exposure to, so it's like my reaction, and then Joe is going to help talk me through it. But
Hopefully.
and this is a book that I think was on one of our second or third
Yeah.
podcasts. This was in your top 10
Early,
books.
early this week. Oh yeah, this has always been a top 10 and will continue to be a top 10 book. Yes.
So, Joe, what are the books we're talking about today?
Well, I'm glad you mentioned it's a Joe's Comics Corner because Joe gets lost a lot when he goes to the corner. So this time he got lost a bit to the 30th century. But we're talking about Adventure Comics number 369. There's the cover.
Yep.
That is a Neil Adams cover. And the continuation, Adventure Comics 370, and that's a cover by Curt Swan and Jack Abel. And also, 369 is the first appearance of what I think is the Legion of Superheroes' arch enemy, MORDRU, the Lord of Darkness, the sorcerer. And what I like about that, but before we get to that, some more stuff about the Legion. The Legion of Superheroes first appeared in Adventure Comics 247, cover date April 1958. The original founding members were Saturn Girl, Cosmic Boy, and Lightning Lad.
Okay.
Right? And they invited Superboy to join, but he fails. But it's all a test. It's a typical Silver Age story, right? Let's see. Founding said the Legion has established. It was established being in the 20th century metropolis, but in that story it says the 30th century metropolis. In that story it says 21st century because it was 1956. So they figured all this cool stuff would happen. we got some of that stuff, but not all of it. The next appearance of the Legion, they updated it to the 30th century. Um, let's see what else should be. The Legion had a leader from the very beginning, and that was Cosmic Boy. But then after that, every year the editors would ask the readers to pick the Legion leader, and that would be done on the letter pages.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I believe the second leader was Saturn Girl, if I'm not
They
mistaken.
mention that in these books.
Yeah,
And then
yeah,
flashback. Yeah.
yeah. And I used to vote it as a kid. I would vote all the time. I would always vote for like somebody like one of the like Timberwolf or Bouncing Boy. I think Bouncing Boy made it once though. I always vote for the underdog, but it was a lot of fun. And notable creators. Well, Otto Binder and Al Plastino were the creators of the Legion of Superheroes under the aegis of Mort Weisinger, of course. Carrie Bates wrote for the Legion. Jim Shooter, Paul Levitz, Keith Giffen, Jerry Conway, who just passed away, also wrote many Legion
Mm.
stories. And that's just like in the 70s and 80s. You can go further on beyond that, of course. Mark Waid in the 2000s and others. But it's had a very storied history. It's been around forever. Please don't ask me to interpret the Legion timeline or continuity. That's a matter for Jack.
Which he did on an episode. We have a Legion
Yeah,
episode way back, a
right.
couple, many years, not, I would say many years, but we've been on for 5, and I would say
Yeah,
maybe a year, 2.5, if you go
yeah.
back into our archive.
So yeah, I think Jack knows that a lot better than I do. I mean, I've been reading all the books since I was a little boy. So these two issues that came out in I said they came out in 1968. I just turned 12, or was 12, maybe I was turning 13. And what I remember about Mordru the Merciless and the Devil's Jury, those are the titles of those two stories, is the haunting artwork. Because I thought that Jack Abel's inks on Curt Swan fit the story of them being hunted by this monstrous supernatural being. And it scared the hell out of me when I was a kid, this story. But I've read it every year at least once. I love it. I love the interplay of the characters. There's some soap opera in there because there's some teen angst going on. Who's dating whom, right?
Yes.
And remember, this is written by a very young man, Jim Shooter, who at the time was probably only 17 years old when he wrote this.
Wow.
I just love the story. It's goofy at times, of course. It's Silver Age. There's a couple of things like, well, why did Mordru chase them back? Why didn't he take care of the rest of the Legion before he went back? Well, he kind of did. That's mentioned in the second part, but it's also mentioned that he really wants to get Superboy and Mon-El because they're the ones that locked him in that vault.
That's right. Yep. Yep.
So that's why he chases them back. So that's a little bit of an overview of what we're going to be talking about for the next hour or so, guys and girls who are listening. So, James, you said you had questions off air.
Yes. So, audience, we're kind of gonna be all over the place here.
Yes.
Obviously, these are classic issues. They're not unfortunately available in Hoopla, but I read them off the DC Infinite app, which a monthly subscription to that is not too bad.
No,
And
sorry.
and Joe, you were showing me beforehand. They're collected in, was it Legion of Superheroes Volume 3 or
Volume 3 of Silver Age, yeah.
Volume 3 of the Silver Age of Legion of Superheroes? If you want to buy the omnibus, you can read it there.
And actually, if you buy the two books, it's cheaper. You can get each of these maybe in a fine for like about $20 a piece.
Oh, okay, they're not that bad.
Yeah, not that bad.
Okay, so, but yeah, I haven't read a lot of Silver Age books. Going back into Silver Age comics, I have to like shift my gears a little bit.
I understand.
Which it's not, I guess, it's also a time period too. Like it's two things. It's a time period in which they're written, so they're drawing off realities of the time in which they're setting this. And then it's the time period of like just being in Silver Age, reading Silver Age versus like modern comic books. So it's like two shifts I have to do with this because to me some of this stuff is it's just like this is like what comic books are made of. They're just fun. There's a suspension of disbelief. There's a
lot of that.
you're not here looking for grounded somewhere in rooted science. You're not looking for it to be too dark, though. I can see the menacingness of MORDRU.
Right.
And I'll say, like, I know nothing. I know very little about the Legion. I know enough, but not a lot. And I've never heard of this villain. Like I
really?
heard of. I mean, I shouldn't say I've never heard of it. I know nothing about this villain. I've heard of MORDRU. I thought it was more related to Arthurian times, the character. No, so I imagined he was like a sorcerer or something from there, but not. He's not at all.
Not a cousin to Merlin, no.
Not a cousin to Merlin, or not, not anything.
Or Mordred.
Yeah, Mordred.
Mordred's very close, right? Yeah.
Yeah, so I thought that was always that character, but it's clearly not. It's a completely unique character.
Not his female cousin Mordred, no.
But I enjoyed it. The angsty stuff is funny. It's also funny looking at modern times how like just pass yourself as a distant cousin, and they just show up at their door
and they'll open the door.
Which you don't know if audience they go back in time, the Legion to 19th early what time period? Like 1960s? Is it the 19?
No, well the books were written in the 60s, but at that point, Superman in the Silver Age is always his age was a lot older than he is now. He was about in his 40s. So if you notice the cars in that, they look very much like late 30s or early 40s. So it was always like 30 years prior. So if this is 68, those stories took place in 1938 with a 16-year-old Superboy, maybe a 15-year-old Superboy. Yeah, I know, it's putting it stretch, but yeah, they didn't update that until a few years later in the Bronze Age. But you'll notice that Mom and Pa Kent are very young, right?
Yes.
Yes, because in the story published in Superboy, maybe a prior year, about a year earlier, they answered that question. They got a serum that made them young because the reader said, wait a minute, they're too old to be his parents. Well, we'll make them young. Okay. And they did.
Comics.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. So they're going back. The Legion of Superheroes has to go back to escape MORDRU, right?
Not Authority, no.
Yeah, I gotta stay MORDRU. But they go back to the 1930s Kansas, and they have to pretend. I like they give them all secret identities. Like they show up, okay, we gotta all be secret identities and blend in, and then two of them pretend to be like, oh yeah, I'm a foreign exchange student, and the other one's like, I'm a distant cousin, and it's just and the people, the women of the household, just like, oh, of course, we'll take you right in.
It's a simpler time, and people would think that in small town America, especially in the late 30s, you would open your door for someone, as long as they weren't pointing a gun at you, you would open the door.
No, it's very like very small town, very community driven. I just found it's like kind of quaint. Like you can't put that in a modern day comic book and get away with
it. No. Yeah, they go back to this 20th century Smallville because as they're trying to escape the Legion clubhouse, where accidentally Shadowlass lets MORDRU out of his vault. He's chasing them, and Dual Damsel just types in on the computer the time bubble the first thing that came to her mind, and it's Superboy's time period. And we kind of realize why she does that, because she's got a crush on Superboy.
I saw that, yeah. And then she feels jealous of Lana, right?
Lana Lang, right.
Yes. That's a whole other thing, Joe, where she's an insect lady.
Oh yeah, I should have pulled that comic. She's a Legion reservist. She's insect queen. She's got a bio ring. Pete is a Legion. He's also in the Legion because he knows.
That's right. I
Superman.
think this is the first story I've read with Pete Ross. Like I only know Pete Ross from Smallville, like the TV show Smallville,
Okay, well,
or Pete Ross in the comics when he was what vice president, right?
under Lex Luthor, yes. And when
Yes.
Luthor was deposed, he was president for a short period.
Yeah. So this is like outside of that, this is the only other time I've ever like read Pete Ross.
Yeah. What I like about the girls is like, you know, they're coming onto the guys, and Superboy and Monel have no time for them. We got a crisis on our hands here. You know, Superboy's written kind of like he's like, you know, talk to her, acknowledge her at least. He's got no time for this.
I like also. I know we're audience. I know you're like, what's the story? Well, we'll get there, or maybe we won't. But this is for a conversation. I like that in Superboy's childhood home in the mom and pop Kent's house. He's got a laboratory in the basement.
Oh yeah, he's got a mini fortress of solitude down there. That's where his Superboy robots are kept. It's where Kryptonite is kept in a lead-lined case. It's where
I had no idea of any of this.
He's got so much crap down there. You can do. I mean, he could have a fire sale for you know all the science fiction heroes in the DC universe if they wanted to buy something.
But I like this though because I mean we were just talking about before we came online about like how Superman is interpreted these days. You don't see like Superman. You don't talk about the science like Superman. Like I think we talked about this, and I can't remember if it's on this podcast or not in some episode. But he's Superman, which means he's super intelligent as well. So I kind of like the gig that he's got a laboratory like where he's doing experiments and building things and stuff like that. I mean that's kind of gone in modern era Superman, but
Oh, very much so. I mean, a few years after these stories, when we get to the Bronze Age, that laboratory becomes even more potent. And because he's a teenager, most of the time when he tries an experiment, it backfires. And it's not good for him or Smallville when it does. So there's some really interesting stories that they
that's
told.
kind of like a crossover with him and Luthor almost there.
Yeah. Well, actually, by the time we get to the Bronze Age, Luthor's kind of written out. Luthor is in the Silver Age stories, but they write him out of the Bronze Age because they start writing Superboy more like Spider-Man in the Bronze Age.
Interesting.
DC Comics. So they add his like he's not perfect. Before that, he was just a smaller version of Superman, which Mark Waid always talks about how he's writing him now. He's not perfect. He's learning. He's a boy. He's a teenager.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Which I think, I mean, I don't want to digress. I think Smallville kicked the door open for some of that maybe in modern storytelling again. You know, because Clark through the 10 seasons of Smallville is not perfect in Smallville.
No, not really perfect. The poor guy had a loft in the barn, but he didn't have a laboratory.
He didn't have a laboratory, but like I said, I liked it. I thought that was cool. I just didn't realize it was a mini fortress of solitude down there because they're down there for like, I like they're like we got to meet up. All the Legion and Superboy they meet up after they've had their identities and they're like sitting around a table. I'm like, look like they're ready to play cards in the basement. But
they're holding a council of war in the basement. Yeah. He's got a Phantom Zone projector down there. He's got that hypnosis machine, obviously.
Oh right, yeah.
He's got a ton of stuff down there.
So well, Joe. So we're gonna get the audience lost. You were saying MORDRU is released, which they explain in the history of MORDRU. He's like basically he reminds me a little of Thanos. He's a galactic warlord almost, or something.
Yes, and what's interesting about MORDRU, this is his first appearance, but apparently he's fought the Legion before in a story we never saw, which was never printed. So that's kind of cool that you get an origin of a character with a flashback in the comic book that he first appears in. I kind of like that.
It's probably a novelty back then.
That was definitely a novelty. Yes, something completely different.
That's sort of retconning, but retconning in a good way.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, we didn't see all the Legion adventures, and this was one that they never printed. So, and here it is. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And so he's let out accidentally by Shadowlass. He's stalking them through the Legion headquarters. As you said, Duo Girls puts in the time Superboy's 1930s time. Mm-hmm. They travel back there to escape MORDRU, and then they have to, as I said, they have to take secret identities, and then they basically are lying low, and then eventually MORDRU does show up. And is that before or after the gangsters? Which I was like, what's going on here?
Well, if you read, I mean, the gangsters show up because they go into hiding, because the girls have to hide, and obviously Tasmia Malor, aka Shadowlass, they have to paint her skin, right?
Yes.
And in class, hey, look, the girl's got blue skin. Oh, and Clark thinks fast with the pen. It's total Silver Age, right?
Yes.
So, but they're doing that so that he can't, because they know he's going to send spies back. And we find out at the end of this issue who the spy is that sees them gathering. It's
Yes.
Lana, right?
Lana Lang, yes, yep.
She's been taken over by him. But so Superboy's not around for a week. It's even on the cover, the front page. Of the
Oh, that's
Smallville
right. That's why the
Gazette.
gangsters come and take over. Yeah.
So there's a crime wave in Smallville. Now, a crime wave in Smallville, a town of like 3,000 people. What are you going to get? A couple of pigs and maybe $1,000 out of the bank. But you know,
it's that's, I guess that's the funny thing of like it's like that's, to me, seems like a real Silver Age turn. We're talking about this intergalactic warlord that's stalking them through time, and then all of a sudden at the last, like, whatever, 8 pages of the comic, they got to deal with small time gangsters taking over Smallville.
Yeah, exactly. And of course, it's Jonathan Kent who leads the revolt, because Jonathan Kent's not going to take anybody's guff.
And they got to like convince the other townspeople to like join in and stand up for it. Yeah.
Yeah. And they can't use their powers openly because that will give them away to MORDRU and his spies. So you see, there's a save early in the beginning where Jewel Damsel picks up that road sign to flip the truck over. It's about to hit the other truck oncoming in the road, and some guy says, "Wow, she's pretty strong." And Superboy remarks, thinks to himself, "Well, she's got the strength of 2 beings, 2 people." She's also a little girl, so I don't know how much that would have done. But okay, we'll
and then what Mon-El and Superboy were in the fight against the gangsters were using their heat vision to melt the gun's internal mechanism so it couldn't fire.
Right.
And
we must remember that even though they show heat vision written on the page, drawn on the page, or in the Superman movies, it's you can't see it. When John Byrne took over Superman, he would have the Superman's eyes glow red, look at something and it would melt, but you would not see a red beam. That's just for the reader's sake.
Okay.
So yeah, they could use heat vision surreptitiously, and they did.
Okay. Wow, that's pretty cool. So that's like the end, and then yes, like you said, the end after they defeat the gangsters, the town is taken back. The town people take back Smallville, and then we see Lana Lang has spying on them and has figured it out and sends that information back to MORDRU,
right?
Who shows up, and it's a very terrifying page. Who's the artist on that page?
Oh, this is Curt Swan, inked by Jack Abel. Before they're outed by Lana Lang, they do meet and say, "Look, we should be ashamed of ourselves because the townspeople stood up to those gangsters, and we're hiding from MORDRU, and we're superheroes. We got to be ourselves and take him head on." And of course, Lana's watching. But let me see if I can find that page for you. Yeah, there it is. I can hold this up.
Yeah, I got this pulled up on my phone. Yeah, that's beautiful.
Isn't that beautiful? Yeah,
it's a beautiful splash page. Very menacing. Yes. The inker you said was Jack Abel.
Jack Abel went on to have was in comic books for a long time. Worked at DC for a long time, and shortly after this, he went over to Marvel. And one of his big claims to fame is inking Herb Trimpe on the first appearance of Wolverine in Hulk 181.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so he inked Herb Trimpe a lot in the Hulk book back in the Bronze Age, but he was around a long time. He also did war comics for DC as a penciler, but he was most notably noted as an inker. And his inks are very dark, right? I mean, you're the artist. I don't know how he got that effect, but it works so well for this story because they're being menaced by this monstrous villain.
I like it though. Like I said, as I've gotten older, maybe it was in our Batman Year One episode, our Batman and Robin Year One episode, where I have more an appreciation and like the this style reminds me of what Chris Samnee is doing now.
Very much so. Very much so.
I would say it's like a Darwin Cook, Chris Samnee type of, there's the color is flat color, the movement's dynamic, they use a lot of use of black ink, and I like it. I mean, like I said, I still love Jim Lee, but it's a different style, but I grew a lot more appreciation for this type of work.
And Curt Swan at this time was drawing Superman in numerous Superman family books, whether it be Superman Action Comics, Superboy, story in Jimmy Olsen, World's Finest. But he was the main Legion of Superheroes artist, which he didn't like doing. He took the assignment, but he didn't want to do it because there was so many of them. But he lucked out with this story because it's 2 parts. He only had to draw 4 Legionnaires plus 2 reservists. So he kind of lucked out here.
That's our counter always that George Perez took on the one wants more characters. George Perez
was the outlier. George was the man who give me more, give me more, give me more.
And he would give you characters that weren't even in the stories we talked about in Crisis. Marv Wolf was like, I didn't even write that character into the script. Now I got to write it in.
Got to write him in now because George put him in there and it's front and center.
So now we're on to that's 369. So now I guess we can jump to 370, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 370. So there's Lana Lang as Insect Queen.
Yes, that's like I said, that's like a whole segment.
That blew your mind, didn't it?
I like. Well, I knew that. Like I don't know if I knew. I really don't remember. I mean, now that I started to read it, I was like, oh yeah, that makes sense because Pete isn't like not Pete Ross. Isn't Jimmy Olsen have powers too sometimes, or he's
he's Elastic Lad.
Okay, yeah. So it should make sense to me that Lana Lang would be something else back.
I complained today that they, everybody, all these supporting characters have superpowers. Like Mary Jane now is Venom, but they were doing it back then too.
Yeah.
Every other month, Lois Lane or Lana Lang had superpowers in the Lois Lane comic book for different reasons: science, magic, kryptonite, constantly. I mean, so yeah.
I don't want to throw us off course, but my one question is: pre-crisis in the adult Superman, did Lana Lang was she still insect girl or woman, or no?
No. When Lana Lang shows up as an adult, it's early on in the Lois Lane series, before issue 10, I think. And she comes to Metropolis, and she's an established TV reporter.
Okay.
So she's a journalist, but she works in TV. And of course, from that point on, it's the love triangle between Lana, Lois, and Superman. Or if you want to make it a rectangle and throw Clark in there. So, yeah.
So at some point, like that's why the Legion's confusing, as we've spoken about, because post-crisis they disappear, they reappear because there's no Superboy. And then there is a Superboy. So anyway, I don't want to get too off our topic of adventure comics here, but
there's something called the Pocket Universe. Well, that's another episode for Jack to explain.
Yeah. So 370, which was 370. I like. This is also Jim Shooter writing this, right?
Jim Shooter writing it, and also Curt Swan inked by Jack Abel. Yes.
Yeah. So I like jumping into this where you end on this big cliffhanger with MORDRU standing over them, and then we cut to this where Clark Kent doesn't know who he is.
Well, yeah, they escape by burrowing underground, and then Clark realizes we've got to make ourselves forget who we are, so he can't find us. So he pulls out his hypnosis ray out of his basement. It's only supposed to work for 1 hour, but MORDRU starts reading the minds of everybody in Smallville because he still believes the Legion is hiding out, and he sees the girl, the kid who knows the girl with the blue skin. He sees the girl who mentioned to her second cousin that she's from the future. And he says, can these be the Legion of Superheroes? Maybe they are, maybe they aren't. But his meddling with the minds of the small people, citizens, ruined Superboy's hypnosis machine going, and the hour becomes seemingly permanent. They forget who they are. And if not for Pete Ross, they would have stayed that way, and things would have been really bad. There's a lot, and then of course, I don't even know why they did this. I just well, hey, we can do it. Why not? He raises the entire Smallville community up into space.
Just like I mean, not far into Superman, because I was already thinking like the Bottle City of Kandor, and like how many little
Argo City,
like how many how many bottled.
It's just another Silver Age. Let's just throw in the kitchen sink and some more. Let's do it, man.
I mean, Jim Shooter, like as he's spoken about, because we've spoken about him a lot, obviously in this podcast, and he's spoken a lot. He was 17 years old, and he was going for it. And I think he said he was writing what he wanted to see in these books.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what got him the job.
Yeah, that's what got him the job. Jerry Conway the job, Marv Wolfman, Len Wein, all these young writers. They were fans, and they wanted to see what they could do in the sandbox, and they all hit it out of the park, every one of them.
So so they lift Smallville up for just like you said, to throw the kitchen sink in, and then I guess MORDRU has his troops there.
They come from the future, right?
Yep.
And they're beating the crap out of the Smallville citizens, and everybody's cowering except Lana Lang. And MORDRU's going, well, those kids can't be Legionnaires because look how they're cowering. But this Lana Lang, and then also at this point she's not in his control anymore. They kind of explain that, but they kind of gloss over that. Okay. So Pete is noticing from the shadows what's going on. Why isn't Clark changing to Superboy? Because Pete Ross knows that Clark is Superboy, but Clark doesn't know that Pete knows. Yeah, right. This is a soap opera. I mean, pure and simple. Jim Shooter was writing the way Marvel Comics was writing their books at the time. This could have been a Spider-Man story,
Oh yeah,
right?
yeah, definitely,
And
definitely.
this is the book, even though he's not on the cover. This is Superboy number 90. The third story in this book here is how Pete Ross finds out Clark is Superboy. They go on a camping trip. Um, Superboy is seemingly called away to go into action. There's a bolt of lightning. Pete wakes up and sees Clark changing to Superboy outside the tent. But he says, I'm not going to tell him about it because maybe I can help him
Hmm.
get out of, especially with Lana Lang and all those suspicions. But you see how that plays out in this story.
Yes,
Wasn't
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. It's a, it's a. I would say it's a little creepy looking at Lana Lang, half insect woman, half.
Yeah, climbing up the side of the building, right? A fly can climb up the wall, yeah.
But it's effective. The art's good, and then I like when he finally recognizes he's Superboy. He's flying out
In his
in
pajamas.
his pajamas, and then he gets the hypnosis projector, and then we enter the second half when finally everybody's back to themselves again. The
Right?
layouts are great.
Oh yeah, Curt Swan was a master artist layout. He was also noted for facial expressions.
Yeah, no,
Even
it's
he's kind of like, I think Mark McGuire took a lot of cues from Curt Swan. So yes,
so so MORDRU has him be tried by the was it the worst of the worst here, the baddest of the bad, except for the Fatal Five.
yeah. The Fatal Five doesn't show up there. God knows where they are, and they mention other villains later on.
Are these like actual villains, or are these villains that are created just for this story?
These guys were created for this story.
Okay.
I don't think there's probably an editorial mandate. Don't use the Fatal Five, or don't use who else? Oh my God, Regulus, Starfinger. I'm trying to think of the other villains from the Legion.
That's
So,
interesting. They didn't,
Yeah, villains. Yeah, and then we find, and then there, of course, they're sentenced by the criminals. Duh. Anti-crime, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
for again locking him up in that vault, and
so he's going to do the same to them.
yeah,
He's going to lock them in a vault, but with enough air so they can watch each other die. The vault's going to have kryptonite, lead. Mon-El spent 1,000 years in the Phantom Zone because of his weakness to lead. And of course, once they get in there, Superboy Mon-El goes, I don't feel any kryptonite radiation. And Mon-El goes, I don't feel sick from lead poisoning. And it's supposed to be made of triple thick inotron, the one metal that even Superboy or Mon-El can smash. Although actually in the story before this or later, I think Superboy does actually get out of an inotron trap, but I'm not sure about that. But anyway, we find out that one of the evil minions of MORDRU, was also a sorcerer, and he had most of his powers taken away. So he turns heel on MORDRU and helps them escape.
it's a soap opera, Joe.
Yeah, I know it really is. It's a soap opera. I think you hit it on the nail before. It's very Arthurian, right? Even though it's not. Yeah, because Arthurian legends. There's a lot of heel turning in that.
Oh yeah, yeah,
right.
Yeah.
It's. I'm sure Jim Shooter was well read and was thinking of all these things when he was writing this story. Yeah, and they, so they get away, but they don't get away, and then the big finale happens with MORDRU trying to bury them, and he buries himself.
Yes. Yeah.
And you know what that made me think of? The end of Where No Man Has Gone Before.
Oh.
Gary Mitchell has omnipotent power. How do you kill someone? You bury him. And Curt buried Gary Mitchell, and the Legion, in their own way, kind of spurred him on to bury himself. And then we are told that I think it's intimated that all the spells that he had cast now are gone. So I guess Smallville floats back to Earth.
I'm guessing so. Yeah, I'm trying to look at the final page here where they have. The final page tells what happened in the future with the rest of the Legion.
And there's the page where MORDRU is buried.
So they just left him buried. I mean, I guess for this story.
For this story, he does come back. Don't ask me how. I don't remember how he came back, but he does. And on the next page, Superboy mind wipes Lana Lang's memory that he's Clark. And so then he's going to do the same thing to Pete, and you see what happens. Mon-El takes away the machine and mind wipes Superboy to forget that Pete knows his secret identity. because Monel says, I can't tell Pete what I learned in the future. When he grows up, he's destined to save Superman's life because he knows his identity. And that is a story that they wrote, I think, I want to say somewhere in the Bronze Age. They followed up on that story.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah,
wow.
They did follow up on that.
Some payoff.
There was, yeah, like maybe took 10 years, but there was a payoff. Yes. Probably Carrie Bates, or maybe Jim Shooter when he came back to Superman in the 70s. He probably wrote that story. I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah.
I enjoyed this, Joe. It was fun.
Right. It's yeah, I mean, and it wasn't too wordy, right?
No.
And the first chapter, this one, there's you see the superheroes at the beginning and at the very end, but most of it they're in plain clothes. It's like a mystery story. It's almost like a horror story when you think about it, right?
Yeah.
There's that creeping shadow that MORDRU sends out, right?
Some Back to the Future elements in there with going back to the 30s.
I'm not afraid to admit that at 12 years old, this scared the crap out of me. The story, it really did. And
well, there's a lot of stuff that like there, and it's there's a lot of science fiction horror stuff in this. Yeah, no, I enjoyed it. I thought it was fun. I can understand the appeal of it. I like going back to these Silver Age things because it's fun to see where comic book. I was just going to ask you is like because this is a lot of it. Some of the Silver Age books they always have like two parts in them. Like there's the main story and then there's the second part. Like the first part was of the 369 was them going back into the past, and then the second part was the gangster stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then the first part of this was them remembering they're the superheroes, and then the second part is the trial and kill. Like
and
so,
the
they're
ultimate triumph over him, right?
Yeah,
They didn't have much to do, but they kind of got lucky at the end because he is very overpowered. They said he could, entire galaxies would quake at the mention of his name, and when he's brought back, he's even more powerful. And then I think it's Keith can answer this for us. I think it's Jeff Johns that brings him back and inserts him into the Justice Society in present day. So yeah, he's MORDRU was around. We haven't seen him in a while, but he's still out there somewhere. He's a very powerful magic user in the DC universe. I don't know if he's ever come up against Dr. Fate, but that would be a good story to tell, I think.
Yeah, I'm surprised he's not used more often because, like I said, I know him in passing. I knew him, like I said, I completely misread what he was.
Okay.
And then also, I remember the action figure DC Direct. That's how I know him. And did they put him in Justice League Unlimited, or I don't think so. Was he in the cartoon on Justice League Unlimited?
I don't think so, no.
Okay, that might have been a stretch because I don't even know if they did the Legion in Justice League Unlimited. But
yeah, they did because they go to the future and Supergirl falls for Brainiac 5, and there's that great last line when Superman says, "Tell me about this boy that Kara met in the 30th century." Because the kid's name is Brainiac, and Superman's like, "Whoa, what's going on here?" So yeah, they do meet the Legion. Yes.
Okay. All right, yeah. But I'm surprised he's not like not top tier, but more at least a villain that I would be more familiar with.
Yeah, he's not an A-list villain. He should be an A-list villain. I don't know why he's not. I'm trying to think if he ever popped up in when DC was really into some horror books back in the early 2000s. There was that. What was that book called with Detective Chimp in it? Shadow something, right? And it was Zatanna, Detective Chimp, I think Dead Man.
Oh, you mean Justice League Dark?
Well, there was a book before, an ancillary book to that, but Justice League Dark, that would have been a great place to bring in this guy.
Yeah.
Well. By the way, I have Mon-El's first appearance here. This is Superboy 89, and there he is. Superboy's big brother, because he thought he was from Krypton, but he's from Daxam. And Daxamites have the same superpowers as Krypton. Later on, it's revealed that Daxam was a colony of Krypton, I believe.
Interesting.
Which is why, but at the end of this story, Superboy has to send him into the Phantom Zone because he starts getting sick because there's lead everywhere on the planet Earth, and people from Daxam, there's no lead in there on their world, and they're allergic to it like kryptonite. And he spends 1,000 years in the Phantom Zone, and then in this book here, which was the first ongoing Legion of Superheroes book, when they took over Adventure Comics after appearing sporadically for a few years, he gets let out. And it's not Brainiac that creates a serum for him, but it's Saturn Girl. She creates a serum for him that he can take, I think, once every 24 hours and can make him immune to lead. That's how they get him out of the Phantom Zone.
They did that storyline on Supergirl on the CW.
Did they really?
Yeah.
Yeah, because Mon-El, that's right.
They had Mon-El, and then they had Saturn Girl show up in Brainiac 5,
And was it Cosmic Boy also?
It might have been Cosmic Boy, and
Yeah.
Lena Luthor does something where she makes the entire atmosphere of Earth contaminated with lead, and then he has to go off-world. I don't think they sent him to the Phantom Zone in that, but then
No, they didn't. No.
and then he comes back in the next season with I think Saturn Girl and Brainiac 5, and I think Cosmic Boy show up, and they get Mon-El back, and
and Brainiac stays. He replaces at the D. What was it called?
The DEO.
DEO. Yeah, who's he replace? Oh God, I can't.
Was it her best friend character?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, I forget his.
Yeah, I can see the guy. I can see the actor.
I can see the guys. I can't remember. Yeah.
So they brought that in. Yeah, Mon-El is a very important character in Superman lore, and a lot of the things that happened in Superman lore that were built up over the years took place in Superboy stories. First Bizarro story was in the Superboy comic book. The first Phantom Zone story was in the Superboy comic book. So there's a lot of history that comes out of Superboy comic books or adventure comic books, which started Superboy and then later started Superboy and the Legion of Superheroes. But yes.
Well, I like I said, I enjoyed this trip down memory lane, Joe. I always learn a lot. It also gives me like an opportunity to like learn some comic history that I am either I'm somewhat familiar with or not familiar with at all. So I like going down these Joe's Comic Corners. I'm glad you take me through them.
I have two more to show you now. This one is the very first. This is Adventure Comics 352, the very first appearance of the Fatal Five, and there they are right there. Okay, you see them?
Yeah.
That is Zarok, Emerald Empress, Velitas, Mono, and the Persuader. The Persuader is a poor man's executioner from Marvel Comics.
Who's the guy with the brain that's exposed?
Oh, that's Zarok. He's half man, he's half bionic and half man. Okay. He is the de facto leader. And this guy here, Velitas, we learn in the Paul Levitz run, somewhere in the middle of the 80s, is the child of Lightning Lad and Saturn Girl.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, right. That was an incredible story. And then for all you Flash fans out there, I know Keith will appreciate this. The Tornado Twins. These are Barry Allen and Iris Allen's children.
Wow. What issue of Adventure Comics is that? This
is Adventure Comics 373. This predates we finding out that Iris came from the future in Flash Comics, and this predates the end of the Flash comic book in 1985, where Barry and Iris go into the future, and then they begat these two children, and one of these characters is the parent of Ginny Ignatz, and one of them is the parent of Impulse.
Oh right, yeah, Impulse.
Grandchildren. Yeah, so
very nice.
Jim Shooter laid a lot of groundwork. He really did.
He did.
Because he wrote this. He wrote this story, as I should say. Wrote all these stories. Yeah.
Wow. Well, Joe, that was awesome. Any final thoughts on these books? I know you love them.
I love them. As I said, I read this story every year. I'm glad you mentioned this. I dug out the. I had to dig it out too far. I dug out the issues, and then I said, well, I'm going to read it in the omnibus, so I don't hurt them because they're very old. And I'll read more of these. I just. That's where I was brought up. That's what I remember. Silver Age, DC and Marvel, and I feel very comfortable reading them, and they bring back very good memories. So yeah.
Well, I like digging into classics. I think like I said, I always try when I come across a classic book that I've not read, I like to do these with you. And then when you mention something that is a classic for you, I like to read it too. We probably at some point should do it because I've not read it, but obviously it's a classic. We talked about this previously, so audience eventually will get to it. Hopefully, is the issue where Spider-Man lifts the big machine off himself.
Amazing Spider-Man 33.
Yes, I've not read it.
Part of that story, yeah. You have to read all three plots. You have to read 31, 32, and 33 because it works up to that.
That sounds like an episode.
Yeah, that's definitely enough. Well, we've done Spider-Man 39 and 40.
Yeah. We
did FF 48 through 50, Galactus and Silver Surfer. We did this. So yeah, we'll do the big ones. We did Amazing Spider-Man 120, 122, the night Gwen Stacy died. Right?
Yes, we did it on. We did Giant Size X-Men #1, which I'd never read. Hulk 180 and 181.
I would just, James, I don't want to end on a sad note. I will bring it around, so I won't say it. But we did lose Jerry Conway this week. I didn't know this. He was born and raised in Brooklyn, New York. How do you like that? Everybody. And we should acknowledge his passing. A very prolific comic, TV, and screenwriter. Born in Brooklyn, New York, Jerry was the creator of The Punisher, Ghost Rider, Firestorm, Power Girl,
Wow.
um, Jason Todd,
Wow.
and had long runs on Amazing Spider-Man and the JLA. Co-created Firestorm, had to run on Fury of Firestorm, and wrote just about every character in Marvel and DC. Really, and at 19, he was given the keys to the kingdom at Marvel Comics. Here, Jerry, write the flagship book, Amazing Spider-Man,
Wow.
and just amazing. So yeah, so he's gonna be missed. Great writer, and worked with Gil Kane, John Romita, uh, John Buscema, Sal Buscema, Jack Kirby, Curt, Swan, you name it. He worked with all these people. So yeah,
Wow.
so we'll just so rest in peace, Jerry. But
Absolutely.
yeah,
Well, Joe, before we wrap this up, I know this has nothing to do with this, but I'm going to sneak it in here. So, audience, if you want to slip out, you can. The last episode of Born to Bowl aired. I watched it.
oh, how'd it go?
It was good. It was, I think, EJ Tackett was going for the Triple Crown. He did not get the Triple Crown.
He did not know.
Who beat him at the Triple Crown?
This year
or last year? This is taking place last year.
Last year. Was it Jason Belmonte? Oh, no, I don't think.
No, Belmonte. Everybody they were focusing on did not win. Like except for EJ. EJ won, but he
was player of the year last year. But the episode probably didn't focus on one of his few losses. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, because Belmonte didn't go where he wanted to go last year, at least according to the documentary. Cameron Crowe, the new guy, he didn't place the way he wanted to. Kyle Troop was out early. The other guy I think I was talking about last episode that I was getting confused with Belmonte was Anthony Simonson.
Yeah, the bad boy.
Yeah, bad boy. Yeah. I don't think I think all the people they focused on, except for EJ, who won 2 of the tournaments, everybody else didn't get to where they wanted to be in the Born Bowl last season.
Well, this year we've had 10 tournaments on the CW, and now they're going to take a little bit of a break, and they're going to go into the World Series of Bowling. That's going to be on CBS. But the people you mentioned haven't won at all this year. Oh no, Simonson won. I'm sorry, Simonson won the Illinois Classic, but EJ hasn't won yet. But this year we had 4 rookies win, including at the PBA Tournament Champions, a 20-year-old named Alex Horton, first PBA title, first time on TV, and he won. And he yes, good for him. So
yeah, the person who beat EJ was a person they were not focusing on, so they had to
was it Chris Vine? I don't remember. I should know this stuff.
And then obviously you answered my other question because the documentary ends with the question mark with Fox is not picking them up again.
That's right.
But now I guess they're the CW, I guess.
CW did 10 episodes at 4 o'clock on every Sunday. Now they're going to be going to CBS Sports, and they'll take them through the spring and the summer, and then they'll return. They did say at the end of this episode, PBA will be back on Fox starting next February.
Oh, they did?
Yeah, they're coming back.
Oh, wow.
They're coming back. Apparently the ratings were very good. I thought Fox did a very, very good job. They brought in a younger guy, Kyle Sherman, who's also on the PBA tour to replace the aging Randy. What the hell's Randy's last name? I can't think of his last name now. But he was good, but he was there for 30 years. It's time for a new guy. So
okay. Yeah. All right. Yeah. So, well, that's just to say I enjoyed the whole documentary series. It got me, I got to snip it into what you enjoy about it. I thought it was very engaging. Ben Stiller was a producer on it, which is funny.
Yeah,
last episode, he showed up to see EJ Bowl, and he was in the stands. And I found it was very interesting. Like I said, it gave me a lot of more appreciation for bowling and a lot more appreciation for when you talk about it. So I thought it was, and it seems like from what you're telling me, or from what I saw anyone can be at the top at the end of the day. It seems like you could be these master bowlers, and then somebody could just enter the tournament and just be up there.
Oh, this week EJ missed. I think it was this week or maybe the week before. He missed making the TV finals by four pins in a match play earlier. So yes, so even the greatest bowler in the world can throw a split or miss a 10 pin, or needs a double and doesn't get it. Gets a stone 8, a stone 8 or a stone 9, which is like rare, but it happens. And you don't make the show. You don't make the cut.
Is this the thing? And this could be probably for general sports, and just because I don't follow, is it I know like the psychology of sports. Is it like when they miss like a strike or two in a row? Is that like real? It's really a mindset, and not a fit. Like it's just a mindset thing, right? Or what do you think happens when like they
Yeah,
they get
a guy will bury a ball. Right, I'm going to just from the right hand perspective. Enter the 1-3 pocket. Looks like it's gonna strike, and then that 8 pin or that 9 pin stands up, and those are the two pins along with the 1, 3, and 5 that the bowling ball hits. It hits 5 pins and scatters everything else around. And you think about it, he makes a spare, and you're thinking about that. Then he gets up again, and he pulls the ball or gets it too far out, doesn't make it back. Yeah, they talk about the psychology of bowling all the time. These guys have, just like baseball players and quarterbacks, they go to sports psychologists. Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, it's just like I guess yeah. I mean, I imagine because obviously, like all of these people who I watch bowl and any athlete like can do phenomenal things, but this something happens on it. Like I guess was the sport the football term any given Sunday, like
any
anything can
given
happen.
Sunday. Yeah, yeah, same thing in baseball. I mean, Yankees could be playing the lowly Cincinnati Red. Well, not this year. Let's say the lowly Phillies, and the Phillies could just drub them 11-0. Right? It can happen.
Yeah,
So yeah, it's
yeah. It's
a lot of
it's
sports, especially sports where where you don't have a team behind you, like golf, like bowling, like tennis. A lot of it is up here.
well, that's like boxing and MMA too. Like
Yeah, right. You don't have a
yeah,
team behind you, right? If so it's you in the lane, you in the court, you in the whatever, you and the other boxer, and you either do it or you fail. You don't succeed. Yeah.
well, it happens in teams too. I guess like people go. I guess it happens both ways. I mean, not that I watch a lot of football, but like when you watch like plenty, I've watched enough Super Bowls. Like sometimes you can go into halftime a loser and come out a winner, and something can go in a winner and come out like it just seems like there's a psychology sometimes with
Well,
like
yeah, maybe the coach, screamed and yelled enough to get through to them. I've seen that in hockey where the Rangers look flat and then they come out and at the first intermission they look good and then of course they fall apart again like they did this year. But yeah, there's a lot of mental acuity or acumen. I guess that's the right word. Maybe more acumen that's needed to at this level, at these levels, the pro levels, to succeed. It's not just all physical prowess. There's a lot of mental gymnastics going on to
yeah,
succeed at the pro level, whatever
yeah,
sport we're talking about.
yeah. No, it's fascinating. I think it's fascinating. Just like it's. I guess when you get to a certain point, everybody's good. So then it just comes down to like, are you good in mentally and emotionally good, and
Yeah, well,
not
like I
just
said, these are the best bowlers in the world, and you wouldn't make it on the tour or get to the TV finals if you weren't a good bowler. But you get up there and you you can't find your line, you can't get lined up, and you're bowling against Jason Belmonte or DJ Tackett, and they cream you.
yeah,
Or the reverse happens; they're having a bad day, and the rookie beats them.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I guess that's the appeal of sports in general, though.
Well, I think so, definitely. Yeah.
Well, audience, we went off a little tangent there, but
We
we're
always
wanting to do.
do.
We want to do. If you were here for comics and then you're like, what are we talking sports and bowling? You know,
Right?
that's what Joe and I are here for. So,
Yeah, no, that's
so,
what we're here for.
so
Well, I got a recommendation.
oh please, yeah,
I got this in the mail. Since DC put out their finest editions, this is the one I've been waiting for. DC Finest Western, The Hangman Never Loses.
wow,
All Bronze Age DC Western stories. A lot of Jonah Hex in here, but other characters like El Diablo and Billy the Kid and Son of Tomahawk, and great art. Neil Adams cover. Nick Cardy, even Bernie Wright, Sinjin Aparo, um, Tony DiZuniga, who did the first probably 20 issues of Jonah Hex. Great stories. Good
yeah.
stuff. Really enjoying it.
Well, audience, I don't know if I have a recommendation except things I've recommended in the past because like I'm up to Transformers Volume 4. I reread them to catch up. By Daniel Warren Johnson, drawn by Daniel Warren Johnson. I know Joe, you haven't dived into
I haven't
Transformers
dived
yet,
into that yet. No, I got to get to
but
that.
it's excellent. It's great artwork, great the story's great. I'm actually on. I saw Keith put this in the Discord. I was gonna chime in. I haven't had a chance. I'm catching up on the Joshua Williams run, so I'm almost done with House of Brainiac. So that's where I am with the Superman, Joshua Williams Superman run.
Oh, that I mean, he's got Superboy Prime in that book now, and it's laugh out loud funny.
So I'm
You,
looking.
you haven't got the Superboy Prime yet, right?
No, I don't. Superboy's not. Superboy Prime's I don't think in House of Brainiac. So because after House of Brainiac, I have volume.
Oh yeah, you got a way to go. You got a
I
way
have a
to
way
go.
to
I'm
go.
sorry,
Yeah.
you got a way to go. Because
And
after KO, you know this. Superman disappears after DC KO.
yes, that I know. Yeah.
And who shows up in Metropolis wanting to be Superman? Superboy Prime. He's torturing poor Lois Lane and Mom Pa Kent. It's hysterical. It's good stuff. It really is.
Yeah, so I can't wait to catch up to Transformers. I'm looking forward to catching up in the Superman run. But yeah, that's all I got. That's all I got.
How far did you get with Aquaman?
Well, Aquaman they only have the first trade out, so I have to
Oh,
wait.
okay.
I have to wait. I have to
Wow.
wait until we get the rest of the trade.
That book is hot. That book is so good. And so is Green Lantern, both by Jeremy Adams.
Well, I read issue 600, which brings Kyle back as the Green Lantern of 2814 or 2814.
But Hal's not gone. Hal's on a mission. Very strange one. We don't know where that's going to lead to yet. But it's nice to see Kyle back, though.
It is nice to see Kyle back.
Yeah.
So, well, listening audience, thank you for joining us for this look back at Joe's Comics Corner and a little sports talk and some recommendations and some remembrance of Jerry Conway. We thank you for joining us. Of course, I could not have done this, navigating my way in and out of the Silver Age without Joe. So thank you very much, Joe.
You're welcome, James. I used that time bubble and I set the coordinates to get to 2026 and not Smallville 1936.
Yeah,
that's why I made it back from the corner.
Yeah. Listeners, if you are interested, like I said, this book is not on Hoopla, sadly, but you can if you want the back issues, they don't cost that much. I'm sure you can get them on eBay. Maybe your local LCS has them.
Yeah, try that first.
Or you go to a local comic show, maybe somebody's got them. I took a month and I took them out for a month on the DC Infinite app, so that they're there. And then obviously you can get the omnibus that Joe mentioned, Silver Age Legion of Superheroes. But if you have your thoughts about what we discussed, we'd like to hear from you, so you can put them however you're listening to this episode. If you want to join a Discord that we talked about, you can send a email to me at secretorigins.mc@gmail.com, and we can get you in the Discord. You can talk to Joe, you can talk to Keith, you can talk to Chris, you can talk to Steve.
Oh, yeah. Steve, definitely.
And there's a few other people in there, too, who sometimes pop in. So there's a bunch of people in there you can speak to. But I thank you for listening, and we will talk to you on the next episode.